Welcome back, everyone, here to ELO Hell's Trial of Champions, where we as a community are coming together tonight, not only to watch some excellent Overwatch from all of these teams, but also to come together for a larger purpose to take down pancreatic cancer. ELO Hell is partnering with Pank One and Pancreatic Cancer Canada in an effort to fund research for this incredibly deadly disease that does not get enough attention.
Yeah, I mean, pancreatic cancer has one of the lowest, I think actually the lowest survival rate out of all cancer types. 8% of people who are diagnosed with pancreatic cancer actually survive it. So please, guys, !donate in the Twitch chat. And that not only goes to the fight against pancreatic cancer, but it also supports the players. You guys are watching here tonight. Half of what you donate with !donate will go to the prize pool. The other half will fight cancer. So you're doubling up and doubling down on the absolute goodness of where your money goes to. So please donate, even if it's just $1 single donate.
You love to see it. And of course, we will be keeping up the fight over the next few days. We've got this three-day long tournament going on. Tonight is just the beginning as we get underway with the knockout stages. We've got one more match here tonight. It's going to be Regen taking on Gaia Esports. And, I couldn't think of a better way to close out the night.
Yeah, Gaia Esports, a bit of a later addition here to the Trial of Champions as we had some teams not able to come in. So Gaia Esports, they come from actually ELO Hell's Get Good NA series. They did pretty well, so they got themselves invited here. They were second in the expert division, so nothing to scoff at, to be sure. But their competition, Regen, come in as a pretty hot team themselves. They are stomping through open division thus far, and honestly, when I look at their roster, I'm really not surprised by it, Shy Guy. Chopper and Cool ABC are a deadly DPS duo, and when I look at the rest of their roster, it's pretty dang good too. I'm liking Regen. I like seeing them play.
No, they are insanely entertaining to watch, and I think at times it's really because they are willing to go kind of off meta at different moments. I always think of, when I think about this team, Cool ABC on the Sombra. I think that's such an incredible pick for him in particular, and the way that Regen play around it is just incredible to watch. As I'm really hoping we get an opportunity to see that, especially here as they go up against Gaia, who are no slouches in their own rights. I really think this team has something to prove here, and they get to go up against a real challenge here tonight in Regen and test themselves against one of the best that Tier 3 has to offer.
Well, and this match is a little bit bittersweet for either of these two teams, right? Because if you win it, phenomenal. I mean, obviously you want to win it. I mean, that goes without saying in any competitive thing ever, I think. You would rather win than lose most of the time. But if you do win, right, you do go up against Scion Esports, the one NA contenders team now that is in participating in the Trial of Champions, as they were able to get out of their trials group. We have 3 other trials teams awaiting in the next round, but Regen or Gaia, one of them is going to get knocked down to the lower bracket, and the other one is going to go up against Scion and then probably get knocked down to the lower bracket. Either way, though, it all starts here. It's all going to start on Ilios, which, I'm not as familiar with Gaia Esports. I got to keep it real, but when I think of Cool ABC and Chopper's hero pools, I think this is a great fit for them.
No, definitely. On the side of Gaia, though, I am looking towards their DPS as well. I think Trend Max Power especially has been excellent in the little bit I got to watch of his Get Good matches. Really great playing the Genji recently. Plays a very similar style, I would say, to someone like EQO, always lurking on the edge of fights, waiting for an opportunity to dash in, get those quick assassinations on an isolated target. And I'll be interested to see if they can make it work here as Gaia roll out with the dive comp.
Yeah, dive comp coming out from Gaia, not so much the case from Regen. They are opting into a little bit more of what the standard has been today with that double shield. Reminder, we're working on no hero pools here in the Trial of Champions, so Orisa is very much able to be played. Widowmaker 2 for cool ABC. That's just gonna chunk down tanks.
And speaking of that, Dark Lord melted immediately on the initial dive, and there's absolutely nothing going here for Gaia. They're going to get cleaned up with ease here as Regen gets things started off on the right foot. It's what we expect to a certain degree, but that was still well played.
Yeah, certainly. Now the real problem is that you're entering in against the Widowmaker, right? And Cool ABC, I mean, Tranmax Power can maybe get up to pressure Cool ABC. That's what I'd like to see. Him going in first, getting Cool ABC into a vulnerable position, and then the dive coming in. Not so much the case, though. It seems like Gaia are just going straight for the front line.
They are paying Cool ABC no mind right now, just trying to set up these dives, but Chopper still manages to get the finishing blow there. Dark Lord, again, the first one to fall in these fights, and the rest of Gaia seem like they are following soonly after. Now, as Gaia is forced to retreat a little bit there, they're just going to be, kind of staggered out here. They're way behind in ult economy, and things are not looking great.
Yeah, no, thus far Regen are playing clinically. They haven't even had to use an ultimate yet. They're going to have 6 on the board as they pass the halfway point here on Ruins. In for side out first. Great, basically, order of operations for Regen. They know where everybody's coming from. And look at that. Elliot's just getting hunted over here. Chopper's going for the 1v1. And Tranmax Power gets caught.
And the Amp Matrix up on the pillar just for cool ABC to go absolutely berserk. Chopper, the one to find all those kills with the blade, but this is kind of looking easy for Regen right now.
Well, that fight certainly was, but also talk about overkill from Regen. 5 ultimates? Did you really need those, Regen? I think you could have saved 1 or 2. Now, it's just a supercharger, and if Gaia just play back, don't fight this, they can win. They're gonna go straight in. That's a little dicey, but it's not very...
Yeah, indeed, it's going to give them the ability to finally force Cool ABC away just a little bit here. They will get that kill eventually here, but a lot of resources committed to making it happen. But finally, Gaia finding a little bit of an answer here. They punish the overuse of those ultimates in the previous fight, and they're able to get themselves on the board.
Yeah, now, I mean, it's 99% for Regen, right? They just have to win 1 of the next 3 or 4 fights, so you imagine that they should be able to do so, but this next one's going to be a little bit trickier. Iluvatar should be able to use this this self-destruct pretty much with impunity. He has so many different options on how to use this one, and once he does, the rest of his team can and should pounce on an isolated member.
But Dark Lord goes down immediately here. Again, the main tank falling, and now a lot onto this self-destruct. They're trying to bait Regen in before sending in the bomb. It's not going to be able to find anything, and now Chopper has the blade at his disposal, just waiting for the chance to go in. Gonna get the immediate execution there onto Iluvatar. Goes for Zapboy as well. And now it's all over but the crying for Gaia here, as Dark Lord going to be the last vestige on the point.
Yeah, it just really felt like you waited a little bit too long to pull the trigger there from Gaia Esports. I think they should have played a little bit more aggressively. Maybe they didn't track ultimates properly from Regen and thought that they had more resources than expected, but when it was just the 1 ultimate available, you should try and play a little bit more forward with a little bit more gas in the tank. I mean, there's stragglers coming in for Gaia, but even with this blade, you're not going to get anything done.
No, just too many eyes on Tranmax Power there for him to get absolutely anything going with the blade. It's not the worst stall in the world here that we've seen from Gaia, but it's all in vain as Regen take a pretty clean victory there on Ilios. One fight where they kind of overcommit to it and lose their footing, but otherwise exactly what we expect out of this team.
And when it comes to Regen, watching several of their matches, ultimate usage is actually just something that has been a bit of a question mark for me in general, right? It's not like abhorrent or anything crazy, but there are fights, even against teams where they play closer, where they overinvest a lot just because they want to win that fight, right? So if Gaia Esports can kind of identify that, maybe play around it, force a lot of ultimates out irresponsibly from Regen, I think that can be a point where Gaia Esports can attack.
Absolutely, just a potential chink in the armor there for Regen, but now we're going to be seeing again the dive here on Well is an interesting take, trying to come in here and use all the cover that they've got around the edges of this point to navigate, to set up multiple angles to attack from, get those DPS in position to harass. But Elliott steps a bit too far.
I mean, that should just be the fight. You'll see a dive probably come in from Gaia, but a 5v6, it's pretty dire.
Now, a nice Bionade is actually going to keep Dark Lord in the fight for a little bit of time, but still absolutely nothing to be done there for Gaia as, again, Regen off to a strong start.
Yeah, I mean, the bio only hit Chopper there, so while it stalled out how quickly that fight was going to be taken by Regen, it really wasn't like a point of entry. It wasn't a turning point in that fight for Gaia Esports. You are 64% of the way to the nano for Dat Boy, so good work there, but Chopper's nearly got the blade on hand, right? And there's not a whole lot unless we're looking at some very well done CC for Gaia Esports. I'm talking Bash, Whip Shot, and Sleep Dart all landing perfectly. Chopper should just be able to cleave through this fight.
Absolutely, and can just kind of focus that blade on the front line if he so chooses. They've been putting a lot of pressure onto Dark Lord, and he goes down again. The dives have just been the tanks of Gaia, you know, diving straight to their death nearly every fight.
And that's why, you know, when the Orisa is in the draft, right, when you can pull the Orisa on, when we're not working with hero pools, most teams opt for the double shield, right? It's more consistent. You can disrupt the dive. You can shield against long-range damage. You get the Sigma in with that, too. The accretion's a really good way to stop a dive, make a tank vulnerable. It's just not a favorable matchup, realistically speaking, for Gaia Esports unless they can do a soft dive, force the immortality field out, and then find a vulnerable meta.
Okay, well, this time they have actually forced out that cooldown, but the rally is going to be there from Neptune to buy a little bit more time for Regen here as they're trying to keep going in this fight. Will ABC going to be able to finish off Luvatar there for the end, and now a blade ready to go from Chopper. Could just be the nail in the coffin here for Gaia. He's going to go in on to that boy, and that should be it here as Regen clean up quite nicely.
That boy definitely knows what's up now. It's a big old blade right through his face. That's going to be a 2-0, or well, a 2-0 on Ilios. Let's not get ahead of ourselves in map score yet, but Regen, certainly a dominant performance here on map number 1. Definitely looking like we're going to get our fourth 2-0 of the day. And I gotta say, Chopper's Genji has been pretty hit or miss for me across a lot of Regen's matches, but I could not point to a place in this map where he had what I would call a flub, realistically speaking, right? His mechanics were just very clean.
I mean, and there were so few mistakes coming out from the team as a whole that it really was just overwhelming there on Ilios. You kind of saw why these two teams are kind of perceived on very different levels. Yes, it's great for Gaia to get in here and get some experience against these top teams, but Regen has been at this for a long time. These players have been grinding their way up through tier 3 for quite a while now, and you know we're seeing them come into their own as players, and it's really cool to see.
Certainly. I mean, I remember casting Ship when I first started casting Open Division, I think back in late 2018. This guy was still around, right? And he's not the only one. Lava, Cool ABC, they've all been bouncing around tier 3 for a while. So now Regen, I think they're a team where you can legitimately look at them and say there's a chance that they start to challenge a lot of these trials teams. You know, you look at Open Division, they're getting to that point. I believe Regen actually has a match against Kratos this weekend. If I'm not mistaken, that's going to be a spicy one. And I mean, if Regen somehow beat Scion Esports, should they win this match, they could actually get that match early in the upper bracket.
Yeah, I mean, and you know that if they could go on a run through this tournament, if they could go toe
Certainly.
to toe with someone like Sion, then that just has to do so much for the confidence of a team like Regen.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm definitely keeping my eye on them throughout the rest of the Trial of Champions here. And now they're going to look to close things out as we go over to Junkertown for map number 2. This, of course, Gaia Esports' pick. So I'm interested to see if they have something kind of in their back pocket.
Well, and while we're waiting to get into Junkertown before we talk about the map a little bit, let's talk about what it is we're here to do. Because yes, it's supporting tier 2, tier 3, as you all should be anyways on normal days of the week. But also, we're supporting the fight against pancreatic cancer for a cure, right? Trial of Champions, we're partnered with Pank One to find a cure for pancreatic cancer, one of the nastiest out there, an 8% survival rate if you are diagnosed with it, which is just heartbreaking to see. So please, guys, exclamation point donate in the chat. Even if you can only give $1, exclamation point donate. Make sure you're giving that dollar. And half of it will go to the players you're seeing on stream, right? Half of it goes into our prize pool. The other half will go towards the fight against pancreatic cancer. So double the usage out of your dollar there. Double the bang for your buck. That's the word. That's the word people usually use.
Yeah, and that the reason why we're doing this with pancreatic cancer in the first place is, as you said, obviously one of the most deadly forms of cancer, that only 8% survival rate, but also the fact that it has kind of lagged behind in terms of the funding for research.
Sure.
Is absolutely a big reason why we're still seeing so many deaths from this disease. And if the funding doesn't come through, that's only going to continue. We hope that we can help kind of bring the rates back up to, or more in line with what we see with other diseases. And of course, that would make a massive impact on families around the world. So thank you to everyone who has donated here. We really appreciate you being here tonight.
Oh, yeah, we always appreciate you. And make sure you're coming back tomorrow and Thursday, because this is just day 1 of the Trial of Champions. It's the last match of day 1 if you're just joining us. Regen currently setting up a pretty dominant first map over Gaia Esports. It's the first to 2 here in our first day. So Regen, they just got to put to bed Junkertown to be able to walk further along the upper bracket. Of course, this is going to be Gaia Esports map pick, and they do actually have a sub coming in. It is going to be Atrushan, I hope I'm saying that right, in for Iluvatar.
Yes, and I believe it's Atrushan. I'm not 100% sure on that.
That would make more sense.
But yeah, from what I have seen of this player, he's definitely going to be the Orisa coming in. We saw them playing the dive there on Ilios. So I think they're just going to be shifting over to something at least a little more conventional on the side of the tank line here. And I think that's a big boon here for Gaia, because from what I saw, they really loved to play around those halts that came out of their Orisa player. At times, even kind of overcommitting to it. I saw more than one instance of a halt not actually connecting, but still Tran Max Power diving in on top of it, trying to get a quick assassination. So maybe the execution sometimes they have issues with, but you can see that they are trying to use that to coordinate team play, and that's a really good sign for Gaia.
Yeah, and I mean, as we move over onto Junkertown, right? You're not going to want to keep running the dive that you tried to run on Ilios, especially on point A, right? You gotta opt into the double shield. Once upon a time, sure, there used to be dive here, but that was before Orisa Sigma, before double shield was ever a thing. Now it's all Orisa Sigma all day long on Junkertown, as long as they are both available. And honestly, Atrushan, he's gonna have to come up big here. I think he's gonna have to do a lot in the front line. This is gonna have to be a pretty major substitution for Gaia Esports, considering just how well Regen was playing as a team, but also just how well Lava and Ship were doing holding down that front line. It never felt like Lava and Ship were in trouble.
No, and I mean, I think, and I kind of hope at this point that at least a part of that was just kind of the mismatch of compositions that we saw from Ilios and how great Regen were at kind of playing that anti-dive style and really shutting it down. Now that we're going to be seeing something much more conventional here, I mean, entirely conventional as far as Junkertown is concerned in the current meta with that Widow Genji DPS line. I think this is an opportunity for them to settle in a little bit and play this at least a little closer.
Okay, so Shy Guy, level with me here. We're both casters, right? We're both Overwatch casters.
Yeah.
The number one rule is don't talk about the attacking spawn.
Hello. Hello.
But
Hello.
I would love it, but
I'm looking at this. I wouldn't be surprised if Cool ABC stayed. The Roadhog never was going to. But Cool ABC, he's walking out. We get Protect the President, or Pirate Ship, as it was called on Junkertown, coming back out. This is ambitious.
This is ambitious, but this is the kind of thing that can catch a team like Gaia really off guard. They probably don't scrim this a lot. No one ever really scrims against this a lot. So how do you respond now? Just by losing attrition immediately. The damage boost on the Bastion melts through shields, melts even through the fortifying Orisa, and now Regen, they've just got all the space in the world.
Can we check our overlays real quick? Are we sure that this is Regen and not avoided from earlier on in the day? No, it's absolutely Regen, and they're just walking forward. Dark Lord, I don't think he has the kinetic grasp. It's really hard for him to actually sit on this objective for very long. That barrier is only going to last so long.
And I mean, even now as he works his way to kind of an opposite angle, is having to turn his attention to the supports. He cannot melt through the Bastion. Cool ABC now already breaking out the tank mode. Is going down very, very low, eventually will fall, and now an opportunity for Gaia to actually make something of this defense.
Yeah, not too much of an opportunity though. Chopper's still here, and there's a lot of low health members on the objective. Seems like Regen still have it.
Nah, Chopper cleans it up pretty nicely
there. We
there.
go.
Yeah, I mean, it was a decent response there from Gaia to eventually be able to melt through Cool ABC, but still they're so far on the back foot now after that blazing start here on Junkertown.
Well, and it does get incrementally harder to run the Bastion on this second point because there's a lot of high ground you have to worry about. The angles aren't so straightforward, right? So you can get collapsed on much easier, and that was something that was difficult for Gaia Esports to do before the very end of the map there. You gotta be careful about these flanks, though. That's a nice gravitic flux. You gotta push off this Gaia.
Yeah, this is the opportunity here, but still, Chopper and CJ going aggressive. CJ with the Valkyrie getting up close and personal.
Man.
They zone the rest of Gaia back and just get res off absolutely clean from Chopper, but now in a little bit of trouble here. Will be able to able to chase him down.
Well, but I mean, Dark Lord should just be done here, yeah. And once it's just one tank on the objective, it's not a tank that's gonna last very long against the Bastion.
No, not at all here, but the spawns are there for Gaia Esports to try and make a fight of this. They're going in with the rally, and now the supercharger committed as well. This is their opportunity. They find a couple of quick kills, and now they're gonna be able to hunt down Cool ABC. They stabilize somehow.
Look at Ship. Look at Ship. Okay, he gets caught. This is actually devastating for Ship. That's so much time off the board. And Regen actually invested into that fight, right? I mean, Lava used the supercharger because he thought Chopper was going to be back in time to Blade, but Chopper was just a little bit too late. You're going to have the Blade now, nothing to really pair with it. So it's going to be a struggle for him to find value unless Dat Boy's Immortality Field gets forced out pretty early. This is a tricky fight for Regen. I mean, Cool ABC just still applies a ton of pressure, and now he can do so at range with the tank.
Definitely the amp matrix is going to be mostly negated by the tank mode coming out here, but still the Blade is ready to go for Transmax Power, diving into the back line, but the focus is there in onto the Genji. Chopper gonna try his best now, uncheese it, going in deep, and with Cool ABC somehow staying alive there in the back line, that's gonna be the cleanup for Regen.
And earlier there was an interview with Bastion main from Avoided, who plays exactly what his name would suggest. And he said, it doesn't matter if I'm finding value on Bastion. If everybody's attention is on me, I can right-click heal and get pocketed, and the rest of my team can find value. That is exactly what happens in that fight. Cool ABC forces the immortality field out from Datboy with the configuration tank, and then just sits there tanking all of the damage, while Chopper slices him to bits with the blade. Already on to the third point now. Dark Lord has to find value with this Gravitic Flux. There are tools available for Gaia Esports, but they need to make them work.
The Amp Matrix just lets Cool ABC melt through Atrution. No Orisa in the front line, and now the tank mode unleashed. The Gravitic Flux for Dark Lord not finding the value they needed necessarily, and the cleanup is coming through for Regen. Now Cool ABC gonna just go park himself outside spawn, and this could be brutal.
Could be. This should be brutal. I mean, Gravitic Flux holding at the spawn door. Bastion holding at the other one. Look, he's just waiting. He's just waiting patiently to pelt into their backs.
They seem to have finally caught him out, forced him to reposition here, get the immortality field out, and now they take out CJ, but Cool ABC is still here. He melts through the supercharger, now turns his attention towards the tanks. They eventually get him, but that's going to be Gaia now stabilizing a little bit here. They buy themselves a little bit more time, and they stay alive.
Hello.
Not gonna lie, Chopper nearly clutched that with his blade. If CJ was still alive, that probably goes to Regen, that fight. But I do think it was a little bit ambitious from Regen. Cool ABC playing behind. It's fun. It's you know, it's very much playing with your food a little bit, Regen. But ultimately, it's not really a great sightline for the Bastion, so Cool ABC is more or less a non-factor in the majority of that fight. Max Power should be able to get this blade in too, so at the very least he can force some resources here, and Dark Lord will be able to follow up with a Gravitic Flux, or vice versa. Either way works.
Okay, Elliot is able to get the kill there onto Chopper, but an immortality field going to enable the resurrection, and the blade is going to finish it off. They know that the supports are mispositioned, no immortality field, and Max Power cleans up.
Yeah, so Gravitic Flux and Blade as expected. The problem is that's all you really had for Gaia Esports. Now you're pretty much going into what's essentially a dry fight for your team. I mean, Datboy can get an amplification matrix, sure, I mean, especially with how much damage Cool ABC is going to be pumping into Gaia Esports, but what's stopping you from getting popped once Neptune uses his own? I mean, I guess getting ship early helps, and that certainly does.
No, definitely, and they do commit the Amp Matrix to try and make this fight work, but they're going to be able to do so. And now, despite what has felt at times like a dominant round for Regen, we're now down under a minute. They have to question the Bastion. Cool ABC going over to the Ash in a kind of last-ditch effort here to make something work on this final point.
Well, Regen don't have much to work with themselves. Amplification Matrix is just going to pop Atrution, though. That's a great start.
Yeah, maybe a little bit aggressive in the positioning there from the Orisa, but now still Gaia answering back. They commit the rally to try and keep this fight going, and they will be able to do so. They had that ultimate in reserve, kind of a break in case of emergency button, and they do pop it. Now CJ getting staggered quite a bit here is going to mean this last fight coming in overtime.
Oh, look at the swaps for Regen. They're actually going over to the Rhine, the Moira, and the Lucio. They're going to WM1 into this fight. Gravitic Flux has to be big, though.
Yeah, they already find one kill. Cool ABC getting the better of his counterpart. Now Chopper going in with the blade. That'll do for Regen. They had to sweat a little bit here towards the tail end of Junkertown, but I'm sure in their minds it was never in doubt. They close out 3 points, and they are just looking to finish off the series here and now.
They just have to hold somewhere on the map. That's all Regen have to do, and they'll punch their ticket on to face Scion Esports tomorrow. And honestly, Gaia Esports, I gotta give it to them.
That was
They
better.
looked better. They certainly looked better. I think the swap over to the Orisa Sigma is hands down better, but I think it definitely felt like the composition changing to a better one was where they found their advantages. It wasn't necessarily an adaptation in their play that has increased their chance. If that makes sense, Shy Guy.
No, and I mean, I think they also benefit to an extent there from Cool ABC sticking with the Bastion for so long there, all the way through the end of Junkertown, even maintaining it after they had lost a couple of fights, which you typically don't necessarily see. So,
Sure.
Regen perhaps trying some new things out here, playing around with the Bastion, and they're going to roll out with it again on the defense. Now, this is unusual.
Well, and I would make the argument it wasn't so much that the fact that Cool ABC was on the Bastion, it was how they played around it for several of those fights. Like, they were more so just having fun. Mm-hmm. They had a huge time bank, and they were willing to whittle it down, and then it got whittled down a little bit too much, and they finally played a bit differently. Now they're going to go for a pretty forward hold. Gaia Esports seemingly expecting the Bastion to be run, not stacking at the front door. Good, that's a good read there from Gaia Esports. The question is, how do you remove Cool ABC from where he sits?
And not like that. Dark Lord stepping forward a little bit too far, gets halted up and just deleted off of the map. And now Chopper looking for opportunities in the backline. Has that Mercy pocket, so not a lot of threat coming through from Tran Max Power in the backline here. We're going to see another attempt as the tanks move forward for Gaia, but still just struggling to move out in the open.
Chopper's going to be on this angle too. Oh, if he had hit that headshot, that would have been devastating. Still devastating enough. He chunks moved down to half. CJ goes down though. This is not a one fight yet for Regen on the defense, and they need to actually stop the cart from moving.
And now Cool ABC in a little bit of trouble, has the Baptiste there to keep it going, and will go back into turret mode. The Amp Matrix out is going to send Tran Max Power and Atrution to an early grave, and now Dark Lord caught behind enemy lines. They're going to chase down this kill, I would think, but he's doing his best to be a bit of a nuisance, stay alive in the back.
Well, tank configuration? Okay, the fact that Dark Lord doubles back around there and doesn't just try to retreat to his team, that's gonna cost so much time. Because, yeah, there's no way you can contest this angle now. You need both shields for Gaia Esports. So, Dark Lord, that late stagger was brutal. I feel like he probably should have just gone off the edge when his team knew they lost the fight. Gravitic Flux now coming out.
Okay, can they actually capitalize on this? Of course, the Immortality Field committed to keeping that Bastion alive, and Chopper now finding a little bit of room to work with on the Widow. Will get shut down. Nice halt to set up that shot in from Dat Boy, but still, the frontline battle is all Regen.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Shy Guy. Frontline, Lava, and Ship have no fear. It doesn't matter if their team's falling around behind him. One dead, another one rezzing. Who cares? We'll lock down the payload. Now we're down to just 90 seconds remaining for Gaia Esports. They have a Supercharger and a Transcendence. They have to wait out this Supercharger, though. If they go in right now, they're gonna lose that fight. They've already used their Immortality Field just so that Moot could survive. Then Dark Mode gets caught. One by one, Regen is dominating right now.
And it feels a little bit like Gaia are starting to crumble under the relentless pressure that we're seeing out from Regen. So obviously it's Regen forcing mistakes, but Gaia are still out of position a lot. But now they move in with this Supercharger. We'll see if this is the answer. But the Amp Matrix is answered quite nicely. Cool ABC goes down there. They cannot save him up on the high ground. So an opening here for Gaia to work with, but Chopper trying to slam the door in their faces. Now has Tran Max Power to deal with, gets the beat down.
Oh, and the Gravitic Flux, this is still Regen, Shy Guy.
Oh, they're gonna turn this fight around somehow. Lava back on the wrecking ball here. Ship somehow staying alive through the entirety of this fight. And again, Dark Lord, you can't, this is just a replay, right?
A replay, but we substituted the Bastion for the enemy Sigma. Speaking of the Bastion, Cool ABC, he's just gonna play behind him. He's gonna get sneaky again, dude. He's gonna wait until they walk up onto the payload and then drill into them. It's gonna be so nasty if Gaia Esports don't scout this out.
Tran Max Power, I think, did catch him and forced him away a little bit, but still traded his life for it. And now the tank mode from the back line is just utterly unstoppable here. Cool ABC going to be able to free fire in onto the cart, and there you have it. The full hold for Regen comes through the blade in vain there for Gaia, and Regen finish off the 2-0 victory, a clean sweep for them as they move on into the upper bracket.
And it's easy to say, Regen, 2-0 stomp, whatever, GG, go next, guys. But despite Regen definitely, like I said earlier, playing with their food a little bit, they actually played this map pretty well, especially on their defense, right? Because there were a lot of moments where a lesser team, even one still, taking the win against Gaia Esports, would have lost a point or two, right? When they lost Chopper or Cool ABC, you have to double back for the res. The limit to which Regen will bend is so far, but they just refuse to break, Shy.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like to me that this is a team that has players that can carry up and down the roster, and that's why they're able to kind of absorb those losses and still come back. I mean, throughout the series, more than anything, I think it was that tank line that really made the difference from start to finish. PG1 and the tank line there for Regen was just absolutely unstoppable. They were on fire all night, and they just played pretty much to perfection all night. Lava and Ship, big shout out to them.
Yeah, and we're gonna have an interview with somebody from Regen. We're gonna go to a quick break. It's gonna be Ship himself, so one of the tanks. There we go. And I can't wait to see what he has to say.
Absolutely. Welcome back, everyone here. We're just about ready to close out the day here at Trial of Champions. It's been an excellent first day of matches with the knockout rounds. And of course, now we are joined by a member of Regen after their victory there over Gaia Esports. It's Ship to join us for a little bit of an interview. So first off, congratulations on the victory. What is the kind of the vibe and the atmosphere in the team right now? Are you guys feeling confident going into tomorrow?
Yeah, we're feeling pretty confident because we're also getting ready for OD as well, which is at the end of the week. We're kind of hard grinding for that, so the tournament's just more practice for us as well. And it could be a big bonus if we win as well.
Sure, and fair enough. Well, let's talk about practice. If we're treating this tournament as practice, is that Bastion strat something you guys normally pull out on Junkertown? Is that something we should keep an eye out for on other maps too? Or was that more of a spur of the moment, let's try this out kind of
I'd say that's definitely more spur of the moment. Cooley BC, for some reason, really loves his Bastion. He was kind of feeling it, so we said, sure, go for it. And yeah, we could try to trust his call and went with it.
All right. Well, I mean, something that perhaps I guess a little bit more usual then is what we would have seen from you guys on Ilios. Of course, you saw the dive comp coming out from Gaia Esports. So, like, what kind of things are changing in terms of the way that you position, or just the general approach that you guys bring when you see a dive comp coming at you on the other side?
We just make sure we scout out where they're coming from. Just be prepared for the dive to come because they eventually do have to dive, and we just be prepared for that. Focus the person that gets pulled or whatever, or like first person in, and go from there. Kind of clean up from there after that.
Fair enough. All clinical, all clean. Well, tomorrow you guys go up against Scion Esports, right? So that is a contenders team that you guys are facing off against. The Scion did make the upcoming NA contenders tournament. How are you guys feeling? Is it just business as usual, or a little bit of nerves, or do you maybe have something special prepared you've scouted out?
I'd say we definitely want some revenge from when we played them in the Fran tourney. It's been a little while. We lost
Sure,
like 2
fair
to
enough.
1. We thought we could have won it, but some minor stuff didn't go our way. But we feel confident in ourselves, so I think it'll be a good match.
Absolutely. I know I am definitely looking forward to that one. And I'm sure you guys have a lot of preparation to do in the next day or so, getting ready for that. So we won't keep you too long here this evening. I do want to close out by giving you the opportunity to kind of shout out anyone behind the scenes that doesn't always get the shine on me. Of course, everybody on the team got a lot of big ups here tonight, but who are the kind of people that help y'all make this happen?
I'd definitely say Swordwalker and like our coaches and staff at Regen, like Swordwalker, Aqua, Poke, Kobe, like everyone there. They all helped us out tremendously with obviously coaching, helping us with strats. Aqua's our manager, like Beef too. Then like our graphic designers, we think do a really good job, and like even all the fans, like we had some of our old teammates in there cheering us on, and everyone like we really appreciate it. Just thanks for believing in us.
All
You
right.
gotta love that. Thank you so much for joining us then, Ship. And with that, Shy Guy, I think we're just about closing this out. Before we do so, though, one last call back to who we're partnered with here at the Trial of Champions. It's Pank One, the Cancer Foundation up in Canada, fighting against pancreatic cancer. We've said it all night. One of the nastiest cancers out there, 8% survival rate if you are diagnosed. And if you guys type in !donate into the chat, you can donate even so much as $1. And half of that money will go to the fight against pancreatic cancer. And the other half goes to players like Ship, potentially, who are fighting here in the Trial of Champions. It's a 50-50 split between the charity and the prize pool. So it's a great cause no matter what.
Absolutely. And we do just want to take a quick opportunity to thank some of the people that came through with those donations here tonight. I've got a list to read off, so we'll go through Alex, Nate, Columaris, Mirst, Shape, Capslock, Shadow, Oliver Queen, Munching Carrot, and Aqua. Thank you all so much for your generosity here tonight, supporting the fight against pancreatic cancer. Such an important cause to be working with, and I'm proud of the work that we were able to do here tonight. So thank you for everyone who is able to contribute. But we're not done just yet, Paul.
Oh no, I mean, this is just day one. We've barely started Shy Guy in the Trial of Champions. Make sure you guys are coming back tomorrow and Thursday. It's going to be 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time for more tier 2, tier 3 goodness and more fighting against pancreatic cancer.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, everyone who joined us here this evening. That's going to do it for us here at ELO Hell tonight. We appreciate your presence and your contributions. We'll be back again tomorrow, so be sure to check out the rest of the Trial of Champions.